Perhaps you haven't heard about it in the news, but reality is much more fragile than we think. More than 70% of Latin Americans would not be able to live 3 days without electricity. And this is not due to laziness, but because we are completely dependent on the electrical grid. Without energy, phones, gas stations, ATMs, and even refrigerators shut down. My name is Alex, and after enduring blackouts, hurricanes, and fires, I learned a harsh lesson. When everything falls apart, the real danger lies not in the darkness, but in desperate people. After Hurricane Ida, generator thefts in Louisiana increased by 600% in just 4 days, and during the major blackout in New York in 2003, looting began in less than an hour. When the light goes out, the rules disappear. Today, I will tell you about 8 types of supplies that vanish first, and how to protect them with real methods that will work when everything else fails. This video is solely for educational purposes and personal preparation. It does not encourage illegal actions. Always act responsibly and wisely. The first is documents, cash, and financial assets that can be exchanged. When the light goes out and bureaucracy slows down, what matters most is not food, but your documents and cash. When disaster strikes, be it an earthquake, a strong storm, or a mass blackout, many people realize that without documents, everything becomes significantly more complicated. Asking for help, using transport, or receiving official assistance becomes increasingly difficult. It's important not to dramatize, but to prepare by viewing documents and money as practical tools rather than just items stored in a drawer. Good news? This can be resolved with simple precautions, without falling into paranoia. Make physical and digital copies of important documents, IDs, passports, policies, certificates, and store the originals in a reliable waterproof and fireproof safe, preferably secured to prevent movement. Keep a small and inconspicuous copy in your wallet and another in an emergency bag. This will help avoid trouble from a lost document at 3 in the morning. As for technologies, scan everything and encrypt digital versions. A USB drive or a memory card with a password will do, and keep another copy in the cloud if possible. Think of clever places to store an extra copy so they are not obvious but remain accessible, and practice the plan with your family so everyone knows where everything is. With 2 or 3 practical steps, you can significantly reduce stress in case of trouble. And best of all, you don't need to become a survivalist to be prepared. The second is kitchen equipment and alternative fuel sources. Let's be honest, when the electricity goes out, the first thing you think is, what will I eat? And no, cold spaghetti is not a long-term solution. In critical situations, from urban outages to hurricanes, cooking ceases to be a luxury and becomes a necessity. Therefore, one should not panic. Understanding a problem with a calm mind is already half the solution. Yes, it sounds serious, but I will explain it calmly. The best strategy is simple and practical. Do not rely on a single thing. Having several ways to cook, a portable stove, a wood-burning option, and something solar or electric, if electricity returns, provides flexibility in difficult situations. Practice in advance. Try each recipe with every piece of equipment to know the time and costs. This way, you will avoid improvisation and stress. Store spare parts and fuel safely and legally. Update your supplies so nothing spoils, and keep a simple list. And finally, a piece of advice. Think of caution, not secrets. Avoid cooking outdoors or large flames that attract attention. It's better to cook small portions quietly. Share your plan with a trusted neighbor and learn the local rules for storing equipment and fuel. Following the law will protect you and keep you out of trouble. In the end, variety, practice, and common sense. With this, you will be much calmer if you ever have to improvise dinner. Are you ready, or just waiting for an emergency to happen? Write in the comments. I want to know your answer. The next point is clothing and gear for cold weather. At first, this may seem strange, but think about it. Who will pay attention to your clothes during a power outage? When the light goes out, the simplest things become golden. Without heating, without the ability to dry wet clothes, without hot water for a shower. Suddenly, warm socks, a waterproof poncho, or warm gloves cost more than any expensive gadget. During prolonged outages, like in Ukraine in 2017, survival in many rural settlements directly depended on the availability of warm clothing. Now let's do a quick exercise. Look into your closet. What do you have that can really protect you in extreme weather conditions or in case of a power outage for several days? Warm jackets, sturdy boots, blankets. These are the treasures that others might desire in dark times, not out of curiosity, but from a real need for warmth. Evidence of the blackout in Chile in 2010 confirms this. People were not reaching for televisions. They were looking for blankets and warm clothing. So preparation is not just about food and water, clothing and warmth. It's a matter of survival. How to keep your belongings safe without falling into paranoia. First, don't leave your best things in sight. Store them in lockable bags or inconspicuous boxes. Secondly, be creative in hiding. Wool socks in cereal boxes, sleeping bags under the bed or in old boxes. Let your belongings look ordinary, even a bit worn. Perfect looks too suspicious. The key is simple. What seems ordinary is not stolen. In any crisis situation, protecting one's resources and their concealment can play a crucial role. Point number 5 is batteries and portable chargers. Do not underestimate the importance of batteries until you are left in the dark. I am not only talking about AA or AAA batteries, but also about external chargers, flashlights, drill batteries, and solar lanterns that seem insignificant until they are needed. During a major power outage, these items become not just accessories, but vital resources. People are willing to pay significantly more for batteries, as without energy, phones shut down, radios stop working, and even a simple light bulb can change the situation. Therefore, having several options for portable energy gives you peace of mind and mobility when all other energy sources fail. Now about practicality without panic. Divide your supplies. Keep a few batteries visible and low cost that you can give away if necessary, while hiding the more valuable and functional ones in safe and inconspicuous places. But remember, safety comes first. Use a metal box or fireproof bag, avoid leaving batteries in the sun or near flammable materials, and periodically recharge them to prevent deterioration from long storage. Be sure to specify the purchase date and capacity. Rechargeable batteries also require charging cycles every few months to maintain their lifespan, along with some simple tips to avoid drawing unnecessary attention. Avoid turning your home into a lighthouse with burning lights in the dark. Use subdued lighting when you don't want to attract attention, and keep old cables or accessories in sight if you want to deter the curious, but do not create the appearance of dangerous conditions. If you want to ensure additional protection, use a locking box in the cupboard. A small fireproof safe will be much more reliable than hiding things in places that could damage batteries or jeopardize safety. Having energy is not paranoia, but reasonable foresight. If you want to be prepared for any emergency, join our community. Item number 4 is medical supplies and hygiene products. When the electricity goes out and systems stop working, the most basic things become problematic, and many do not notice this until it is too late. The water pressure drops, the sewage clogs, and even using the toilet requires some strategy. During real emergencies, such as in Venezuela or Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria, everyday items like diapers, toilet paper, or disinfectants became scarce resources. This is not to scare you, but to show that the little things matter, and being prepared can be much easier than you think. Therefore, having necessary supplies on hand, such as wet wipes, gloves, bleach, or baking soda, can save you in a difficult situation. And remember, it's not about thoughtlessly accumulating, but knowing where and how to store them. Avoid storing all supplies in one place, like the bathroom or kitchen, because that's where they will be searched first. Distribute the products in strategically convenient places, under the sink, in inconspicuous boxes, or even among things that no one will check, like among antique decorations. A useful strategy would also be to prepare spare supplies, such as used soaps or old packaging, to give curious onlookers the impression that they have found everything. And if you want to take a step forward, leave a small reserve for exchanges or deals so that no one knows the exact amount of your resources. This will not only protect your supplies, but also help maintain calm and confidence in unexpected situations. It is important not to give in to fear, but to be prepared and make reasonable decisions with what you have. The third is seeds and supplies for growing. If you ever thought that seeds are only needed for gardening, forget that. I'm talking about something much more serious. These are products that can save you in case of a prolonged power outage or any disruption in the supply chain. This is not a theory. It is a story. During the Great Depression, seed catalogs were true treasures. In Venezuela after 2015, those who had their own seeds became heroes of their communities when food disappeared from store shelves. Even during the first wave of COVID-19, due to panic buying, orders for regular seeds had months-long waiting lists. Now imagine all this without the internet, without open supermarkets, and without the possibility of replenishing supplies. Suddenly, a simple packet of seeds becomes more valuable than money, and everyone wants to obtain it. This is why, in extreme situations, organized groups planning for the long term strive to control seed banks, as happened in Syria. Here in the United States, the Agricultural Marketing Service does not keep its archive in Fort Collins for nothing. This is a strategic security measure that demonstrates this is not fantasy. The ability to protect your little green treasure is the whole secret. Forget about ordinary gardening bags. Store seeds in vacuum-sealed packages, labeling them as ordinary items like camping food, and hide them in places no one would think of, such as forgotten boxes of video cassettes at the bottom of a closet. You can also mix seeds that germinate poorly with valuable ones to confuse the curious. This will not only provide you with food, but also give you control over your future if the world becomes unpredictable. If you have additional survival tips, share them in the comments. Secondly, moral incentives. During a prolonged power outage, not only the absence of light can break you, but also the darkness in your consciousness. Many prepared people focus on accumulating food and water, but ignore something vital: morality. When the psyche fails, the body follows. I have seen this. People who had everything surrendered due to isolation, fear, or boredom. Therefore, small things that lift the spirits, a book, a game, a song, a cup of coffee, can be more valuable than gold. In those places where the crisis hit particularly hard, like Venezuela or Bosnia, a simple deck of cards could cost as much as a week's worth of firewood. These small pleasures represent something more than just entertainment. They are a symbol of hope. But here lies the paradox. What preserves the mind can also put you in danger. In a world filled with silence, a working radio station can reveal your location. A piece of chocolate can provoke envy in someone who hasn't tasted sugar for months. Hope in times of despair becomes a dangerous currency. Therefore, it is not enough to simply keep such things. They must be protected. Hide them in unexpected places. An old gaming console, a textbook, a box of games. Use them with caution. Survival depends not only on what you have, but also on how you hide it. Remember that mental resilience is your first line of defense. Without it, even the best supplies won't save you. Maintaining morale is not a luxury, but a survival strategy. Cherish your emotional treasures, treat them like water, and never underestimate them.